It's showtime, folks.
Absolute ass. Not really, though. Not really. 6-3 Hawks lost to the Winnipeg Jets, but honestly, considering it was a 6-3 loss, I didn't think it was really that bad of a game. In terms of Blackhawks games this season, one of the worst, but there are good points about this game, though. There are good points about this game. We'll get into it. Obviously, like for better performance than we saw tonight, but maybe the Hawks are due for a game like this. It kind of felt like it. I even said in the pregame, I did predict the Hawks win, but my gut did say the Hawks are probably going to lose this one, and that's what happened. So, first game, a 6-game road trip. Playing at Winnipeg, the Jets are one of the best teams in the league at home. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the league, period. So I knew it was going to be a tough battle, a tough test, Hellebuck and net. And it proved to be the case, Hawks were due for probably a reality check type of game, and this was one of them. But, especially coming off of that Tuesday game where, the highs are as high as they could be, right? Bedsy hat trick, big 7-3 dub against Ottawa. You're playing a Canadian team in Winnipeg that's, considerably stronger. And yeah, they were dubbed a 6-3 loss. So almost Uno reverse card, not quite. Hawks scored 7, and 6 goals were scored against them today. 6-7. Well, I somehow made a way. I found a way to make a 6-7 joke in this one. So always find a way, man. I always find a way. But big point about this one. Very, very odd to see Jonathan Toews, playing against the Blackhawks, Winnipeg Jets colors, right? Got a point in this one, so you love to see that. I was hoping to get on the board. 6 Winnipeg Jets goals. I was hoping at least one of them would come from Jonathan Toews. So, unfortunately, no goals for Toews today, but he had an assist, and I thought he looked pretty good. It looks like Jonathan Toews, man. Like, that looks like Jonathan Toews, considering he's been away from the game for, multiple years, you wouldn't really be able to tell. There's not a ton of rust there. What is that? 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points, 11 games. So, Unk still got it. The Unk has still got it, so you love to see that. And, I think he's fitting in nicely in that Jets team. They're 8-3 now, right? Toews, second line center. So I think he's fitting really nicely there in the Jets' top 6. And they haven't lost a step, man. Last year's President's Trophy winners, obviously hoping to go on a deeper run the playoffs this year. But that team doesn't look like they've lost a step without Nikolai Ehlers. I think Toews has filled in for the Jets pretty nicely. And, they still got it from all regards. So. But yeah, getting into the actual game itself, first period, Vladislav Nemestikov strikes in the power play. So that was pretty early in the game, right? I think that was like less than 2 minutes in the game. So that set the tone right away for what this night was probably going to look like, right? Jets can't control the pace from there. But Hawks didn't get an answer. It was the luckiest to bounce. The luckiest of bounces to Teuvo Teravainen. Connor Murphy dumped the puck into the zone, and the puck took a weird bounce off the stanchion, off the glass, and that caught a Hellebuck off guard. He went out of his crease to play the puck, thinking it was going to go behind the net. It did not go behind the net. It went right to Teuvo Teravainen. It was in front of the crease, and it was a tap-in. So probably the easiest goal that Teravainen's ever scored in his career, and his celebration was just like, he knew he was lucky on that one, but hey, you'll take it, right? For the Hawks, a quick answer there. So luck is something that hasn't tended to be on the Hawks side in recent years, so it's been nice this year to get a bit more luck on our side. The PDO puck luck has definitely been on our side this year, and we were probably due for a game that's probably going to reverse a little bit, and that's kind of what happened. So more from the goaltending perspective, right? Now, not Knight's best game, but it wasn't all him. I think the defense, wasn't the best tonight. 33-27 shots, I believe. 32-24 shots, I should say. But it was mostly defensive lapses tonight were the issue, right? I thought the Hawks had pretty good ozone time, pretty good possession. I thought they looked pretty good, played pretty well, they had chances. First line was buzzing. The Bedard line was buzzing all night. It just felt like every time the Hawks made a mistake, the Hawks took advantage of it, right? There were some poor pinches by the defense, and that was what happened in the second goal, and the Velarde goal from the Jets. It was a poor pinch by Louis Crevier there that kind of led to a 2-on-1. And, that Jets first line of Scheifele, Connor, Velarde was kind of cooking us all night. So, that's a line you have to respect out there, right? That's all three of those guys could burn you at pretty much any point. So, pretty much every time that line was out there, they were dominating possession, dominating chances, and the Hawks really didn't have an answer to that line. So, that was the first period. Second period, Mark Scheifele got on the board for the Jets. It was kind of a softie from Knight. I don't put this one on Knight. By the way, Knight's been fantastic this year, so he was due for a humbling game. He was due for a game that hurt the stats there a little bit, right? His goals against the average save percentage has been through the roof, so he was due for a regression game, and that's kind of what happened. He had a couple softies tonight, but it wasn't all him, like I said. A couple defensive lapses, but the third one, though, he probably should have had. And then the fourth one by Gabriel Velarde there. Yeah, and then the fourth goal by Gabe Lavardi was just another example of that Jets first line just cooking. It was kind of a tic-tac-toe play. Those three are just finding each other out there. They're responsible for 4 of the 6 Jets goals came from that first line. They were dominant all night, so definitely cooked us in that regard. Third period was interesting, though. Third period was interesting. The Jets did get on the board first from Josh Borsi. That was another one that I probably should have had. And then Jonathan Toews assist in that goal. Jonathan Toews, apple, you'd love to see from Captain Sirius, but game that interesting from there, though. The Hawks didn't give up. That was a position they hadn't been in all this year, a 3-goal deficit, 4-1 going in the period, and then became a 4-goal deficit, 5-1. Very easy for this team to, lay off the gas and, call it a day, just go to the next one. But this team showed some fight back. This team showed some fight back, which you love to see. Alex Vlasic, Pickle, gets on the board there. A little rebound garbage goal. I thought Bedard should have had an assist there. I thought Bedard should have been credited for assist. I thought he kicked the puck to Vlasic there, but NHL app hasn't credited for an assist. I'll check it again or refresh it, see if they changed it. But I don't think Bedard's been credited for an assist on that goal. I thought initially he did, but he has not been credited for an assist. So, but he would get an assist back. Andre Burakovsky. Where the hell did this come from? 2 minutes later, suddenly it's a 2-goal hockey game, and Andre Burakovsky goes between the legs. Just an absolute beauty. Early candidate for Blackhawks goal of the year right there. I just wish it wasn't a goal to cut the deficit to 5-3 with 5 minutes left in the game, less than 5 minutes left in the game. Chris Paul, a huge 3 to cut the lead down to 42. So it was a little too late, but it was a beautiful goal from Burakovsky. Bedard gets assist there. Levchinov as well. About the only highlight from Levchinov all night. Otherwise, it was another rough game for him. I've said it many times. Yeah, I just don't think he should be up here right now. He's got 4 assists, but still looking for that first career goal. But it's really the defense has been an issue for him. It's just I feel like every game is a turnover. There's a lapse and. That continued to be the case in this one. I think especially that 6th goal, I believe it was him that had the turnover there that led to Kyle Connor's goal for the Jets. So yet another goal from that top line there that kind of put it away. Hawks comeback efforts were ditched, and the Jets took a 6-3 dub. So, Hawks, they showed some fight then in the game, which you love to see, right? This team has showed fight all year. The culture's been it showed a lot of strides, so you love to see that, but it was a little too late. But I think the positives, though, the Bedard line. Like, the number one positive for me tonight was the Bedard line. The Bedard-Greenberg-Koski line was cooking all night. They were finding each other. The possession was good. Bedard was getting chances. He was getting shots. No goals for Benzie in this one, but he had an assist. Probably should have had 2, but it is what it is. But I thought Bedard was fantastic in this game. He was easily the Hawks' best player. In fact, to look at the game scorecards for this game, Bedard had the highest impact for the Hawks in terms of advanced analytics. If you're into advanced analytics, but Benzie was your man tonight. So, he was fantastic. Big good game from Benzie. Good to see him follow up. He wasn't going. It was going to be hard to follow up that Hatcher performance, but only 1 assist on the score sheet. But I thought just his overall game, I thought was very strong today. He had a behind the back and no look pass as well at one point. Pretty much every time he was on the ice, that line was showing something, making strides. I thought Ryan Green had a good game as well. He had a break. He had a breakaway, wasn't able to finish, but I thought he had a good game. And then Burakovsky obviously had that beautiful highlight reel goal. So all 3 players in that line, I thought, had pretty solid games overall. So good to see that. Yeah, and another negative is the power play. Power play went for 0 for 3, so I thought the power play started to make some strides in the last game, but kind of went back to reality in this one. That's been a negative for the Hawks, man, as the power play. There's been a lot of games where they've had 3-4 looks and haven't been able to get on the board. So, you're able to get a board once or twice, and suddenly it's a whole different hockey game. So, Jets power play 1 for 3, but yeah, Hawks power play just wasn't there today. The movement was okay. The puck movement was all right. Just weren't able to get on the board. You call it the Connor Hellebuck effect, right? One of the best netminders in the league. So, and the Jets' special teams is great. Both their power play and penalty kill is so top notch. So, this is one of those games where it's like the Hawks didn't play badly. It's just they were just outplayed by a better team. Like the Jets are one of the best teams in the league. So sometimes the game is as simple as just the better team won. The better team won. I think this is one of those games. So I'm not going to tweak about it too much. I'm not going to overreact, right? I think it's easy to overreact after a game like this, but. It's more just like, okay, it's one game, right? But there's 5 games left on this road trip. And I said it in the pregame leading into this one. Like, this 6-game road trip is going to be super important. Like, the Hawks have to come away with at least a respectable record in these 6 games, right? You don't want to let things snowball. A lot of times, if last year's Blackhawks, things would snowball. They go on long losing streaks, long droughts of poor play. So you want to wash this away, rinse it off, go to the film room, brush it off. But you want to come back ready to go for, I believe, Saturday we're playing the Oilers. I believe that's our next opponent. So you want to be ready for that one, right? So, you don't want to let things snowball. 6 games, you want to come away probably at least 3, at least 2. I think ideally you win 3 or 4, but you want to come away with 3. I scratched that. You want to come away with 3 games, go 500. If you're only winning 1 or 2 games during the 6-game segment like that, that could be a sign of things to come. So. But yeah, this is the last game of the month for the Blackhawks, last game of October. Halloween is tomorrow. It's probably Halloween by the time you're watching this. And yeah, I think overall it was a pretty scary performance. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of roller coaster emotions in this one. But it was an entertaining game. Like it was a loss, but it was an entertaining game, an entertaining loss. And hey, I think that's a positive because a lot of Blackhawks losses last year were absolute nonsense to watch. I mean, they just weren't fun games to watch, and Hawks didn't play well. In this game, there were segments of the game the Hawks didn't play well, but there were segments they looked pretty good as well. So this is one of those losses I don't think you can hate on too much, right? I think the fact that this is one of the worst games of the year for the Hawks, I think shows how good this team has been this year, right? There haven't been a lot of games this year where you could say, oh, that was an awful performance. Like maybe Sunday, like that might be the one game you could look at where like that was pretty damn bad, but this one, I'd say, there are worse losses, let's say, than the game we saw today. Still a lot of things we want to work on, though. I harped on Knight, but really, it was the defense, I think, a lot. A lot of mistakes in the D-core, a lot of turnovers, bad pinches, 2-on-1s, things like that, 3-and-2s, odd man rushes. And just times where there was just a little opposition in the defensive zone tonight, and the Jets are able to take advantage of that. So, again, young defense, you're going to see that a lot, right? But this is one of those games that definitely the inexperience showed a little bit. So things to work on there, things to brush up on for sure, but nothing too crazy. This is definitely a game where the Jets just took advantage of every single Blackhawks mistake, it felt like. Hawks didn't play that bad, had a lot of possession, not enough shots. You'd like to see a bit more shots. I thought there were some stretches of the game where the Hawks actually had pretty good ozone time. It almost looked like they're on the power play at times, but they weren't getting enough shots that go until the end of the game. I mean, it was a little too late from that regard, right? At the end of the game, they just started firing everything, and hey, what do you know? Pucks start going in the net. Good things happen when you actually put the puck on net, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, as Wayne Gretzky would say, as Michael Scott would say. But they waited a little too long to get aggressive in this one, right? They waited a little too long for that regard. Oh yeah, Dickinson left this game as well with an injury, so hopefully, he's good. It's the second time this year he's left the game with some sort of injury, so we'll see what's up with him, right? Maybe that's the excuse to call up Oliver Moore. I don't know, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself there, but I'd love to see Oliver Moore up in this team, man. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And yeah, Connor Hellebuyck was definitely a difference maker for the Jets tonight, man. Not surprised, right? 21 saves, 24 shots, but there were definitely some looks there. The Hawks could have easily scored a couple breakaways tonight as well. It wasn't just Ryan Green. I think Frank Nazar had a breakaway as well. I believe one of the Hawks' power plays in this game, but was stopped. So yeah, multiple breakaways the game can't deliver. You probably want to score on one of those. That's a whole different game. So, but yeah, Connor Hellebuyck, that's what he does, man. That's what he does. One of the best keepers in the league for a reason, and big part. You could definitely tell his experience paid off versus Knight's inexperience in this one, but. And it's okay. For Spencer Knight, you want these games. You want these learning games, right? So it's not a negative, right? I imagine you go back to Soda for Saturday, right? Give him a bit of a break. It did seem like Knight was a little tired in this one. I mean, he has been playing the bulk of all the games, right? It's the first time in his career where he's a full-time starter, right? He's used to being a backup for his whole career. He's 24 years old, 25 years old, whatever. Young goaltender, it's going to take him time to adjust that workload. So it felt like in this one, just you could sense maybe it caught him a little bit. So that's all right. That's fine. It's going to happen. We'll get Soda back in on Saturday and hopefully right the ship there. And yeah, I'm sure the Jets, like I said, the pregame yesterday, I'm sure the Jets are very motivated in this one, right? Want to have a big game for Johnny. It felt like the motivation was there. They wanted to win for Jonathan Toews. And yeah, it was definitely a strong performance from them for that regard. And Toews as well, Jonathan Toews won, Blackhawks 0 so far. But we'll have some rematches. Like I said, I'm looking forward to January 19th, 2026, when Jonathan Toews returns to the United Center. That's going to be a fun affair, man. I can't wait for that. That's going to be a ton of fun. And yeah, we'll see if Toews can get on the board in that one. It's Jonathan Toews in Chicago. He scores! I could already see that. I could already see Toews having his overtime winner like Patrick Kane did in his first game against the Blackhawks with the Wings a couple of years back. Hopefully I didn't manifest that in existence. Or maybe hopefully. I don't know. Maybe we want to see that. I don't know. I might have to try to get to that one. Hopefully I won't cry. Because that will be an emotional game for sure. But yeah, no, I think overall, I think that's it for this one. I could keep going, I could keep rambling, but yeah, I think I'm not going to overanalyze this one. I think it's just one of those games you kind of scratch off the lottery ticket there. It's a wash. It is what it is. You rinse it off, you brush it off, and you move on. Right? There are positives, there are negatives. Yeah, it's a game for a young team, a young growing team to learn from, right? You still leave October with a 5-4-2 record. I mean, how many of you would have predicted the Hawks to have a winning record through the first month of the season? Like, let's still be positive here, right? It's one game, it's one off game. It's going to happen. Yeah, there's still a lot to like here. So, but yeah, obviously you want to get back on track during this road trip here, right? So, but yeah, I think the Hawks still have, this game should leave a bad taste in their mouth for Saturday, and hopefully we see a bounce back performance against the Oilers. The Connor versus Connor matchup, McDavid versus Bedsy. We will be there. Absolute cinema, baby. All right, I think that's going to do it in this one. Thank you all so much for the support. Like it around, share it around with your friends, family, loved ones. Appreciate that a ton. Pets, whoever it is. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. I believe we're at 580 subs at the time of this recording. Closing in on 600, man. Closing in on that. So appreciate that a ton, man. Appreciate the support. It means the world to me, like I've said many times, like I say every video. And yeah, we will see you all in the next one, Saturday, pre- and post-game show for the Edmonton Oilers Chicago Blackhawks affair. Will be a good one, hopefully. Will be a good one. Weekend approaching, Halloween approaching. Happy Halloween. Tonight's the night. All right. See y'all in the next one. Bye-bye. B-Hawks out.